In this episode of Oh Jeezy 50 Feezy, we are talking about Epic Universe. We're reacting to a friend of the channel, The Noble Way, did a fantastic video on Universal, their new park coming very, very soon, which George will be there on opening day with Abigail. Epic Universe, it's going to be really, really crazy, but we're going to react to his video, break it down, talk about it up next on this episode of OG 55. Let's go. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. We are talking all about Epic Universe today in this reaction video. George, the Italiano, is with me today. George, welcome back, sir.
Glad to be back, and always enjoy doing these videos with you, whether it's reaction videos, chit-chat videos, live shows, all that good jazz, talking about the parks, the studio, corporate, food, women, whatever we're talking about. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I mean, we did a live show the other day where we got into breast milk and Brazilian nuts. Don't ask, everybody. Don't even ask. Just go watch the live show. I think it was the last one we did. Actually, not the last one, because the last one you did, it was solo. The one before that. Hilarious live show. We had a great time, but yeah, we get into some funny topics. Hey, when you ask the audience, when you tell the audience, ask you anything, you got to be prepared for anything. You know what I'm saying?
And you never know where the lives take you, because we have an engaging audience, and you have us two that literally we don't care. We'll talk about anything. Like, we just say it like it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I love doing these, man. It's fun. You know what I'm saying? We just talk about whatever. But the Italiano, where can they find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
Sticky. All right, here we go. We got Mr. Noble Way in the house. Everybody, make sure you subscribe to Noble Way. Make sure you smash that like button. We had the Noble Way, him and his lovely wife, on the show. I don't even know now. It's been several months, but they do great content. Make sure you subscribe to them. Make sure you check them out and support them. Let me go ahead and just kind of adjust my screen real quick so we get a better look. There we go. Handsome young man, right? So we want to make sure we can see him. There we go. Okay, George, are you ready?
Let's do this.
All right, here he is, Noble Way. Let's talk about Epic Universe.
We finally have an official opening date for Epic Universe, but already we are hearing about expansion plans. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Today, we are going to talk about all of the new details we've learned and soft launches and previews. So not only are you prepared for opening day, but also Epic Universe and beyond. As we know, opening day for Epic Universe has been formally announced. It is May 22nd of 2025, and ticket packages are currently on sale, even still, for opening day. So if you think you missed out on opening day for Epic Universe, you are in luck. There are still ticket packages available. However, Epic Universe hotels are currently sold out for opening day and opening weekend. This includes Helios Grand and Stella Nova and Terra Luna hotels. Completely.
So did he say that the ticketing packages were still available, though, for that weekend?
Correct.
Okay. That's interesting. I don't know if that's
the hotels are booked
right
for that weekend, but actually for that week, I believe he said, but actually the package deals that will get you access into Epic Universe are still available.
Okay, that's interesting, because we've talked about those package deals, and we see like the community. And again, I say it all the time. There's a definite a divide, a gap between our community, which is a bunch of nerds like us, right? We're all nerds here, right? And proud of it. I'm a fucking nerd and I'm proud of it. But we're the nerds, right? Who talk about this stuff all the time. And then there's the normies. So the nerd bubble, I see a lot of complaining on like social media that like, you know, I don't want the package. I don't want the ticket pack. I want to just go Epic Universe a la carte. Mm-hmm. So the fact that these ticket packages are still available as of at least 2 days ago when he released his video, maybe they're not really like, maybe people are kind of like, I'm not really sure. That's interesting. Now the hotels are sold out though.
Correct.
So I don't know what to make of that. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, but I mean,
it makes it seem like that maybe the people who booked the hotel stay are the locals that have the already active annual passes because they can get that Epic Universe a la carte 1 day ticket, and then they just book the room as the room itself. So they'll stay there for one night, go to Epic Universe, and then leave. And then you may get some people maybe coming for vacation, kind of intermixed with that. But I think majority, once the newer hotels booked out, because you have so many rooms that you could fill in, that's less than what the theme park capacity holds. Now it's like, okay, then people are now subjected to stay either at like Aventura or Cabana Bay or Dockside or Hard Rock, you know, things like that, where it's like, okay, well, we got to stay there, but we also now have to do a multi-day ticket for the other parks just to get the 1 day for Epic. And that may obviously have seemed like it turned people away from it.
It could be. That's interesting.
Sold out for that weekend. However, other hotels such as the Royal Pacifico and the Portofino Bay, as well as the Hard Rock hotels, are still available. And why that's important is because you definitely want to get a hotel stay for your opening weekend tickets. And the reason for this is that Universal has confirmed that early access into the parks will be available even on opening day. So if you have
and another thing I want to bring up, and look, I'm excited for Epic Universe. I want to make that very clear. We've done a lot of positive Universal videos lately. Our HHN review was glowing. I mean, I can't sing the praises enough for Express Pass. I mean, that was our first time using it, and it was an incredible feature. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And we fawned over the new Epic Universe stuff with the animatronics. You know. But the fact that these ticket packages are not selling out, and the fact that the other hotels aren't even selling out, and again, I don't know the numbers internally. I'm not, you know, I mean, I'm sure, you know, Universal seeing the numbers and making whatever they are of those numbers. But I mean, that this park and this new little resort over there has been so heavily hyped,
and the fact that to bring Disney to its knees.
Well, according to a lot of fans, it was. Yeah, according to a lot of fans, this was going to really, you know, I mean, Disney needed to respond to this, but you're seeing a lot of availability, though. You would think that, like, you know, even the other hotels that were still there, the Cabana Bay, the Portofino, that he's talking about, would be filling up too for in the lead up to this grand opening, and it's not. So that's interesting. And again, I'm not trying to make a definitive statement here. I'm not saying this is a failure. I just think it is a little bit surprising the amount of availability that's there so early on, considering the amount of hype that we've been hearing for this thing for years.
Right. That's and I know that you don't want to like make like a definitive like notion that it's going to be a failure or not. I'll do that. Hold on a second. So anyway, let me, not just kidding. But I will say though, if Disney was going through this,
oh dude,
people would be talking about, oh, well, why is their hotels still available? Why isn't people booking packages? People aren't questioning why Epic Universe package deals are not filling up. It is just what it is. It just falls, you know, to the waist belt. But if it was Disney, it'd be all in the news.
Oh, it'd be all in the news. It'd be, you know, on YouTube like crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it is interesting, you know? So, but again, we're not here to bash it, you know, obviously. But I mean, I think it's an interesting observation that these things aren't really filling up right now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hotel reservation for Universal or Epic Universe hotels, you will get early access into the park even on opening day. So go out there and book yourself a hotel so that you get in there before anybody else. I do want to also mention that pass holder tickets, the special single day pass holder tickets, which have been available early access availability to pass holders are also still available. However, they are completely sold out for the first few weeks of Epic Universe opening. Now, we do know that those tickets are going to continue to be available throughout the life of Epic Universe. There's no panic, no need to run out there and get.
So that's interesting. So for the APs, they're selling out for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So see, we're getting a little bit of a snapshot of like what's going on here right now, right?
Right.
So Universal's mindset going into this was they want vacationers, though.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I was told for years that Universal wants to tap into the vacation market and take away that market share for vacationers and tack on an extra day or even 2 days to that Universal vacation. But it doesn't seem like the vacationers are necessarily piling in. It seems like it's the APers that are piling in. And you mentioned that, like the hotels, that Epic Universe hotels, they're getting booked up, right? But then the ticketing packages aren't. But then the AP stuff is. So what your theory was is the AP people are buying up these hotel rooms. It's looking like that is the case.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me, because if the AP tickets, the individual a la carte, as like you like to call it, is booking out in weeks, but they're still actually full on packages, well, you're not going to get someone to travel down with their family, just say from Colorado, and just do a 1 day Epic Universe ticket with their annual pass a la carte, and then that's it.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. It seems like they're having some trouble in Unitown.
Unitown, yeah, right. Unitown, USA.
Get those single day tickets as a pass holder. They're not going to go away. We just got early access to them. Single day tickets for non-pass holders are going to be made available very shortly, though. So you're going to want to, as a pass holder, go out there and get your tickets now before they become available for non-pass holders, because they're going to start to disappear even more and more. So let's get into some of the new stuff. Let's start out with the previews. We know that the friends and family soft previews, getting into access the park prior to it completely opening up, will happen earlier than opening day. Right now, we are hearing March could tentatively be the month where team members of Universal will get access into those parks. Following the friends and family, we will then move into annual pass holder previews. So we're expecting that sometime in April. And then following that will be the special media VIP access, and that will be sometime in early May, maybe late April. Now, our expectations are that there will be soft openings, and those soft openings will continue all the way from the annual pass holder previews all the way through to opening day, probably up until the day before opening day. Those sort of soft openings allowing people to come into the park will be available. Now, what everybody's asking, though, is will the pass holder previews, will they be free or will you have to pay for them? Typically, pass holder previews are completely free. You don't have to pay for them as long as you have access into places like Universal.
And I will say this, Universal does, at least my experience here in Hollywood, right? I'm a Universal pass holder here in Hollywood, you know. The Universal does do a good job at taking care of their pass holders. They really, really do. So, you know, it's cool to see this, you know, with the pass holder previews and everything like that. But Universal is very good with that. They do have a lot of special stuff. Like Universal does like these, like, you know, these annual pass lounges and things like that. But yeah, they do a very good job treating how they treat their annual pass holder population.
As an adventure, if there's a pass holder preview for an attraction or whatnot, you get special access into that. It's a little bit different with a completely
special
new
access
park opening up. So we don't know for sure whether there will be some sort of charge or some sort of payment required in order to do these previews, but we are crossing our fingers and hoping that it will be free. If it is free, it will be extremely limited, meaning probably only 1 day of access for those annual pass holders. However, soft openings may be a different story. If they continue to have soft openings all throughout the months prior to the opening day, again, those may be free access or they may be special ticketed events. We will have to wait and see. The next thing that everybody keeps asking about is when are we going to get those coveted annual passes that include Epic Universe? Now, we don't have a formal date for that, but every indicator that we're seeing tells us that we're more than likely not going to get annual passes that include Epic Universe until 2026.
Wow.
All of the single day tickets and packages that are available right now only take us through the end And it makes sense because they're not going to want people to buy single day and multi-day tickets, especially annual pass holders. That's the key. All of the single day early access annual pass holder tickets right now only go through this year. And they definitely don't want annual pass holders buying single day tickets if they're going to be launching an annual pass version of that shortly after, because then people will be asking for a lot of refunds, trying to get money back when they do eventually upgrade to the Epic Universe Pass.
Makes sense.
However, all expectations are that you will be able to buy the Epic Universe annual pass before opening day. All the information on the website confirms this. We've talked about this in previous videos. You will be able to purchase your annual pass upgrade that includes Epic Universe before opening day happens. However, expectation is that it will not be eligible or won't be valid until 2026.
Well, that's interesting though, because you're gonna pay for the pass now.
Mm-hmm.
That includes Epic, but you won't be able to go
2026, at least to get into Epic. So you're paying to have that Epic add-on,
but you can't access it.
Use it till 2026.
How does that work? I mean, I'm sure they got something figured out, but how does that work? Because I feel like, why buy it now then? Like, that's such a ripoff. You're paying for something you literally can't use, and I'm sure that pass is more expensive. No?
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, I would think so. I would just wait till 2026.
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of thing there that we're missing, because that seems awfully weird to me. Yeah, buy it now. You can't use it until another year and a half, but buy it now. It's like, okay, weird.
Now let's talk about some of the new details that we found and discovered about Dark Universe. And I want to start out with this really cool tidbit of information about it. As you know, when you enter through the Dark Universe portal and you enter into Darkmoor Village, there is this really cool well sort of in the center of the town. It's the very first thing that you come through. And we found out that apparently the village of Darkmoor is built on an entire ginormous colony of vampires. Now, we knew that already because of the catacombs area of Dark Universe and the Das Steakhouse, where essentially the Das Steakhouse is basically vampire familiar.
Dude, that Das Steakhouse, man, that's gonna be sick. A vampire steakhouse. How perfect is that?
I know. That's like, oh man,
dude,
that couldn't have been fit better. That, like, when you get your steak, if you like it medium rare or rare, it's a little bloody, no pun intended. You know, it's like.
Oh yeah, man! I'm telling you, and that's the kind of stuff that I want to see with Villains Land. I want to see these clever sort of like food eateries. Like, you could do a Scar steakhouse, and I think that would be pretty good. That's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like an elephant graveyard kind of like steakhouse kind of thing, or like an Ursula's kind of
seafood.
Yeah,
100%.
They're going to be serving you the food, and they're basically the caretakers of the vampires that live in the catacombs beneath the Das Steakhouse. So we've known that there is an underground area, but we didn't know that the entire underground of Darkmoor Village is a vampire colony. And apparently that really cool well right there in the center of the town that has all that mist and fog and red lighting and everything is essentially a feeding well for the vampires. It's how they get the food, the blood, down through into the well, down into the vampire colony. So I just think that's a really cool piece of lore in the way they've set that up. I really think it's neat.
Yeah.
But we also have confirmation that the Mole People will be part of Dark Universe. If you're not familiar with the Mole People, it is a 1956 Universal classic monster flick called The Mole People. And apparently in Darkmoor Village, right on the outskirts of the village, there is a cage with this decaying creature in it, which apparently is one of the fabled Mole People. So we know there are so many Universal classic monsters to be confirmed in this land, and that's just one more that we've just added to the list. And I just think that's really cool because there's probably even more coming that we're not even aware of. We also have an update on the Burning Blade Tavern and the windmill that sets fire, and a little bit about the storyline there, which I think is really cool. And what I love about the way that they've designed Dark Universe is you sort of weave your way through the portal into Darkmoor Village. You see the well, which is sort of that first iconic little imagery there. You've got that story around that with the vampires living below it. Then you come across Frankenstein's Manor, which is going to be this beautiful, amazing, breathtaking view. And then as you weave your way past the manor, sort of that third big piece that you're going to see is that Burning Blade Tavern windmill that catches fire. I just think they've really done a smart thing by adding a lot of like iconic, almost like pit stops along this journey.
Yeah, it really brilliant. And this windmill is like a masterclass in how to do kinetic energy in a theme park.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be absolutely brilliant. Not only does it add kinetic energy during the day because, you know, it's a windmill, that's cool in and of itself. But at night, when that thing lights up,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. In the comment section, let me know. I'm not really sure. Does it light up during the day too? Maybe it does.
I believe, yeah, I'd like to know too. I think so. I think it's like every so often they will do it in the daytime too. But I will say, and I'm not saying this to be negative, but I hope Universal does kind of stay on that path, because sometimes Disney is guilty of doing this. They'll do something that is like top notch, quintessential, like heavy in storyline and with technological advancements. And then as time goes on, it kind of bleeds out where it's like, well, we don't really have to do it like every few hours. Maybe we'll do it like once or twice a day. We won't have the special effects to it. So I hope they keep up with how it is really supposed to be, like as time goes on.
Yeah, I'm assuming they will, just because from what from what I'm hearing, I think the Dragon in Diagon Alley has maintained itself over the years.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be okay, but there's a lot more moving parts with this, to be fair. I mean, this is not just a static thing that's going to blow fire. This thing moves, and there's more to this than the Dragon. So we'll see. It's a great point, George.
You go through Dark Moor Village and you go through the Dark Universe area. Apparently, multiple times per hour, you will hear a bell start to ring in the town, which signals that the windmill is about to burst into flames. And this will start a 1.5 minute pre-show of sorts that will eventually culminate with the Burning Blade Tavern windmill catching on fire and burning for at least a minute, from what we understand. This is not going to be a quick dragon's breath like you see above Gringotts there. It is going to be a minute-long spinning, burning windmill. And we know that they are using two different types of fuel ratios for this windmill, one for daytime and one for nighttime, that makes sure that you are able to see that burning sort of windmill, whether it's during the day or whether it's at night. So I just think this is an amazing add to this land. You really can't discount the
give me 1 second. Go back a little bit.
Time that makes sure that you are able to see that burning sort of windmill, whether it's during the day or whether it's at night. So I just think,
is that Method Man? It looks like Method Man from Wu-Tang. That's pretty awesome.
I think this is an amazing add to this land. You really can't discount the fact that they really had to think about this wood. Like, what is this wood going to look like? What's it going to look like when it's burning and on fire? It has to look like charred, burnt wood around this windmill. It also has to spin, and it has to catch fire and stay on fire for a minute, which I just think is like, I just think it's amazing how they've sort of put this thing together, and I cannot wait to see it. Now let's talk about Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment. As you know, the story here is Dr. Victoria Frankenstein, a new character and granddaughter of the original Dr. Frankenstein, has essentially decided that she thinks that she can control the monsters. I think she's trying to do good. She may not be trying to do good the good way, but she's trying to do something where she can control the monsters and perhaps make them part of the normal society instead of having to be feared. And from what we understand, the beginning of this ride is going to be her talking about how she can control Dracula. And you see this really cool, like, portal energy sort of circle. And we're guessing that this device is designed to sort of hold and control Dracula. So he's in the center of this portal, this like electric device. And it's really cool because if you look closely in the latest video where they were interviewing some of the designers and creators of Epic Universe, you can see this portal or this sort of electric device with Dracula in the center of it, right behind the person that they're interviewing there. And I think that's really cool because it very matches up with the concept art.
And I love this kind of backstory where Dr. Victoria Frankenstein is trying to control these monsters. Obviously, in classic theme park form, it'll be something went wrong and they escaped, right? Obviously, right? Hence the name Unchained, right? But I like that. I think it's a cool backstory. I think it's effective because it's a simplistic storyline. It doesn't take a whole lot to digest. It's very easy to understand. I think it works. I really do. And it kind of gives an explanation as to why all these monsters are in one place too, you know?
Absolutely. Now, if you look at the ride vehicle, because I think that's the ride vehicle where people are watching, or is that part of like the set piece? I can't really tell, because if it is the ride vehicle, is that like the harness that comes down over the person's head?
I think it is I think it's the back of the ride vehicle. If Mr. Theme Park Wizard is watching, Wizard, comment in the comment section for us. But from what it looks like, yes, it looks like these are the ride vehicles, and it's facing Dracula. Like this is the headpiece right here, and then like you were saying, like these probably are like those over the shoulder restraints. But again, Wizard or anybody that's really schooled in Universal, if you know the answer to that, please let us know in the comments. We'd appreciate it. But you're right though, George. It does look like the vehicles, the back of the vehicle.
You sort of see that overlap of like what's in the background there, and then you look at the concept art, and apparently this is sort of going to be like the beginnings and the kickoff of this particular ride. Now, spoiler alert, all heck breaks loose because she clearly cannot control Dracula, and everything is going to go off the rails real quick. So cannot be more excited for this ride. It's probably going to be the first thing that I head for on opening day. Now let's talk about the new animatronics. Have you seen these things? We've got 15 animatronics in this attraction, 14 of which are going to be in the actual ride itself. You've got one ginormous 9-foot tall Frankenstein's monster that's going to be part of the pre-show and the queue. It's going to be walking, apparently. I don't know how they're going to do that, but it sounds awesome. And I just think the detail on these monsters is absolutely ridiculous. The movement, how fast they move. And I remember the original sort of Dark Universe announcement where it had this werewolf sort of swiping, and everybody was talking about, is that an animatronic or is it CGI? And from the very beginning, I've been saying that is an animatronic, and it looks amazing. There's a lot of other people saying, no, you're wrong. That's definitely not an animatronic. We're now seeing the real animatronic.
But really quick, though, to be fair to those people, I believe that was also, they might have been talking about the Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster, where you saw the werewolf's hand like kind of leaning down into like the shed area. So I think that also too was what people were asking, is that an actual audio animatronic or is that screen base?
Yeah, it's fair. It's a good point, George. And I gotta say, and I said this in the video we did the other day with Wizard and Slimer, but these animatronics, dude, these are every bit as good as Disney animatronics, and almost even slightly better probably than a lot of Disney stuff. These are impressive, and the detail in the faces and the way that they're textured with the skin and the teeth. Look at the gums even.
Yeah, and the movement of how fast they move. Now, also to be fair to Disney, the last time we actually had seen like a top-notch audio animatronic, correct me if I'm wrong, would be Rise of the Resistance for Galaxy's Edge.
Yes,
I believe.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some pretty impressive stuff over there in Tokyo with Frozen in Fantasy Springs, but those are kind of different, I guess, different kind of animatronics than what we're looking at here. But yeah, I would say probably the Galaxy's Edge stuff, the shaman in the Navi River journey.
So you're kind of looking at like a 2017 to 2019 models of audio animatronics. Now, we haven't seen anything come out of Disney as of yet in the domestic parks with any newer audio animatronics. So let's see how, like with Pandora coming to DCA and Coco, let's see if these are going to be top-notch audio animatronics that can possibly match this. Because right now, I think Universal got the slight lead with it as well. And also, too, the attention to detail, and I know these are monsters, but we need to see something like this with the Walt Disney audio animatronic.
Yes, the Walt Disney animatronic needs to be flawless. I'm telling you right now, Disney, the fans are really going to hold that one to a high standard, and they should. And they absolutely should. That's going to be a biggie. So you're right. That'll be a glimpse as to what Disney's got right now with animatronics, because you got to nail that. You got to make it look exactly like Walt. Now, I'm telling you right now, if Disney can stick the landing on that Walt animatronic, it's a believable Walt Disney, and we have actual audio, which they said they're going to use audio footage clips from him talking. This is not an AI thing, this is actual footage of Walt. To have the animatronic up there and Walt speaking is going to be absolutely surreal. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it. Okay, but they have to do the animatronic right. It can't look kind of wonky. It has to look like Walt, move like Walt. So we'll see. It's a risky move, though. It's a risky move. They got to stick that landing.
personal and doing the same motions that animatronic was doing in that original video. So it looks to me like we've pretty much confirmed that we were right when we said that wasn't cool. That was an actual animatronic, because these things look so amazing. The detail and the speed at which they move. I mean, you can see them like the claws coming out, just all this motion and movement. Just
Really
looks
quick,
amazing.
bro.
Now, in Universal's
if you
official
go
video,
back to the werewolf, look how fast he even pulls back, like not even forward, like when he pulls like back
is
after like reaching his claw out.
Ridiculous. The movement, how fast they move. And I remember oh, you're wrong. That's definitely not an animatronic. Where the speed at which they move, I mean, you can see them like the claws coming out,
like that,
like
he just
motion
like
and movement
back, and it's like,
it's crazy, man. These are impressive animatronics. Very, very impressive.
It just looks amazing. Now, in Universal's official video, we got to look at 4 of these creatures in detail. We saw Frankenstein's monster, Wolfman, Dracula, and the awesome creature from the Black Lagoon, which we will talk about a little bit later, but that monster looks spectacular. Now, we also know we will see Dr. Victoria Frankenstein. We will see other creatures like the Mummy and Phantom of the Opera, the Invisible Man, Igor, and the Brides of Dracula also in this attraction. So a lot of different characters and potentially some more. Now, this brings us to the expansion plans that I want to talk about, because that creature from the Black Lagoon animatronic is out of this world. I think it looks absolutely amazing. I don't have any idea whether or not it can be submerged in water. Probably not, but it looks unreal to me. So with this latest update of all these animatronics and this absolutely impressive creature from the Black Lagoon, all this sort of discussion and talk is already starting to swirl again about the canceled Creature from the Black Lagoon boat ride that was supposed to be originally part of the Dark Universe. This has sort of brought it back to the forefront. We're now talking again about how the fact that this Creature from the Black Lagoon water ride may not in fact be canceled, but it just was put on hold and paused until we get a part 2 of Dark Universe. And it would totally make sense because we don't really have a lot of water/boat rides. Think about things like Pirates of the Caribbean or your Splash Mountain or even your Jurassic Park River Adventure. We don't have a lot of those water rides. And one of the things that Universal continues to need more of is family-friendly rides that pretty much anybody can get into and enjoy the attraction. We're getting a lot of roller coasters.
Now, who says that?
Yeah, right. No, I know. We've been saying that for a really long time, and he's absolutely correct on that. That's what I think. That's one of the big weak points for Universal is that you go into a Universal park and it's a lot of like either like kid stuff or it's like crazy thrill stuff, right? Universal, and again, I know people are going to get in the comments and be like, well, OG, but what about this and what about that? I understand it's not like across the board 100%, but by and large, Universal kind of struggles a little bit with that Pirates of the Caribbean middle ground that everyone can do. And I think he's right where it's like they need more of that kind of thing where everybody, you know, even the stuff that is technically family friendly, like you look at like, you know, Forbidden Journey, for example. I mean, technically it's a family friendly attraction, but a lot of people can't go on that thing. You know, your 85-year-old grandma, you know, people, like it's still a kind of a thrilling, jerk you around, throw you around kind of experience that not everyone's going to want to do. So you're going to have to get some Pirates of the Caribbean style attractions in there. The Swamp Man, whatever, was it Swamp Man?
The Creature from the Black Lagoon.
There we go. Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's perfect. You need stuff like that. And
I do remember there were, you know, talks of, you know, in circulation, like when the first concept of the land was talked about, that was going to be a major attraction for it. But yeah, just because it's not opening day attraction, that does not mean you con it out completely, because in time when people see that these lands open and they say, oh, well, there's only 2 attractions in this land, oh, there's only, you know, 1, you have to think they're not going to stay that way forever. Eventually they will expand and grow and upgrade. It's like this is just the land starting out in the beginning.
Yes, as lackluster as DCA 1.0 was, it was almost kind of irrelevant because the biggest hurdle in that whole thing was just getting that park built. Once you got DCA built, you can go in there now and plus it. You can go in there now and improve it, right? It was getting the park built, getting the infrastructure. That was the real hurdle. swapping out attractions, you know, taking out a land, putting a new land in there, that's easy stuff. But getting that infrastructure in there, working with the city, getting the Mickey and Friends parking structure and all the infrastructure in and around that resort to make that park happen was the real issue. Once they got that done, improving DCA is easy peasy, basically, right? So it's the same thing here. It's like once you get the park built, the infrastructure, you have it. Now you can kind of play with it for years to come. Now that's easier to do. Getting it built is the biggest hurdle.
Correct. Although I will say though, I would pay to see someone's 85-year-old grandma go on that dragon spinner at How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, I know exactly, dude. I'm telling you, and that land's for kids. But I tell you, man, I mean, there's a lot of adults that probably won't go on that thing. So it's even the kid land has some stuff in there that's like, I'm not going on that shit, bro. You know what I'm saying?
We're getting a lot of kids-friendly areas, which is great, but we still need more, and we don't have a lot of water rides or water attractions. So this seems like this is going to be one at the top of the list. And Creature from the Black Lagoon, while not one of the major characters in the classic universe, you've got a lot bigger characters. He's probably in the top 6, not really the top 5. You got like the Mummy and Frankenstein's monster. You got these big characters like Dracula and Wolfman, but he's probably around 6. He's got a very iconic like cult following behind Creature from Black Lagoon, and that animatronic that they showed is just unbelievable. So I really don't think that they would have spent so much time developing this Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I am really glad that my ex-mother-in-law found a new job.
Your ex-mother-in-law found a job. Yeah, isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Yeah, she had a glow up, George. A glow up.
Creature from the Black Lagoon merchandise, Creature from the Black Lagoon sort of little Easter eggs in some of the tribute stores. We keep seeing a lot of those things coming out from Universal. So it seems more and more likely like we're going to get a Creature from the Black Lagoon water ride there as part of the Phase 2 expansion for Dark Universe. And what I'm talking about with regards to that expansion, I'll show a little map here which really shows between the Dark Universe area and the Super Nintendo world, there's this pad here that's reserved for expansions. Now, this could be used for Super Nintendo world expansions, but also the Dark Universe. And this is specifically where on the original sort of...
I will say it's refreshing to see Universal leaning into a franchise, an IP that is very Universal.
Mm-hmm.
The Universal monsters, like I've said many times, built that studio. The Universal monsters are essentially the Disney fairy tale for Universal. And I've been very critical of Universal in the past because they tend to lean in so heavy on other people's IP. I mean, you're looking at it right here, Super Nintendo World, right? Not to say that it's not successful. It's been very successful, but Universal does that. They lean into other people's stuff. So you have Super Nintendo, you got Harry Potter. It's always other companies' things, even Simpsons, right? It's refreshing to see Dark Universe with the Universal monsters. This is built into the company, the studio's DNA. It's great to see. I love it. I hope we get some version of this out here.
Maps and things that people were carving out and speculating where that Creature from the Black Lagoon water ride was supposed to be. So it is very possible that we're going to be getting that as part of the Phase 2 expansion. So there you have it. Those are all the big major updates that we've got for you today. There's some...
Okay, so everybody, I will be linking the Noble Way down below. Make sure you follow him or subscribe to him. Him and his wife do amazing content. They are absolutely friends of the channel. And make sure you show them all the love. Again, great video from the Noble Way. But George, any final comments before we get out of here?
Yeah, actually, to your last comment that you had made that you would love to see Dark Universe at Universal Hollywood. I really believe that they will. I think they should, especially because literally those films were made on that lot. Like that is like the coup de grace, like pinnacle point of what started up Universal. So why not pay tribute to the original baddies, so to speak, that spearheaded the whole entire what makes the parks today? And honestly,
and shout out to all the baddies out there. You know, we love you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Take out the Simpsons, put in Dark Universe, and honestly, you don't even have to do the Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster. Do the Monsters Unchained or Experiment or whatever it's called, and do the burning windmill.
Right.
Do the steakhouse restaurant. That's basically all you would really need, and just design the land of how it would fit, intertwine in the structure of how the park is already.
Yeah, no, 100%. And you and I, we spent a lot of time this past time when we went to HHN. We spent some, well, not a lot of time, but some time in Simpsons in Springfield. You know, that's where you got your rubber cheeseburger that you could literally. You could have bounced that thing off the ground. It was
Jurassic World.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Jurassic World. Okay. Yeah. But anyway.
But Ebba had a bad experience with Cletus's chicken shack. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got some digestive stuff, going on with already.
But I could still feel that cheese like rolling around in there.
Oh, dude, it's still in there. There's no way your stomach acid ain't gonna burn through that shit. I'm telling you that right now. But yeah, I mean, Simpsons Land. Obviously, the contract's gonna run out. They definitely got to address that. Put something in there that's the Simpsons was always a weak area for me. And that was actually Simpsons was pre Comcast. Mm-hmm. It was like right before Comcast or a few years before Comcast, when Universal wasn't really doing like the great stuff that they are now. So I would get rid of Simpsons area. Obviously,
and it was also before Disney got the rights with Fox.
Exactly. So they could put something better in there. Maybe Dark Universe or a mini version of Dark Universe there. Maybe they can do that. Maybe it'll be something else, but it's time. It's time to get rid of that area for sure. But I gotta say though, I mean, at least Simpsons has like a lot of a lot of food options on that in that strip. You know what I'm saying? They got the Moe's Tavern, they got Cletus. There's a lot of stuff there, for eating. And actually, that one place we went to, oh man, I forgot the name of it, where we all ate, and I got that giant ass hot dog.
Oh, Krusty Burger.
Dude, Krusty Burger. That hot dog was so good, and it was massive, dude. It was like from like my knee to my ankle. It was like this big, and it was a hot dog, and there was like chili in there and cheese and stuff.
You basically just described me.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like from the knee to the ankle. Yeah, exactly, George. Exactly. Just like, But it's funny, man. See, we always go off the rails. Yeah. We're a PF Chang's family. Like we go to PF Chang's all the time.
Oh, okay.
And they got these monstrous. Do you have that in Pennsylvania, PF Chang's?
I believe, we have some PF Chang's. Yeah.
Okay. So we go there all the time. But anyway, we were there pretty recently, and we're walking up to PF Chang's, and our location has these massive, like, stone horses.
Okay.
Like, they're massive, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking to myself, oh man, thank God these are not anatomically correct. Because it'd be pretty gnarly. It'd be pretty gnarly, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, we have to go off the rails sometimes.
Of course.
So we had to do at least once on this video, right?
Yeah.
But the Italiano, where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There he is. Comment down below with all your thoughts on the Noble Ways video on Epic Universe. He broke it all down. What are your thoughts on the opening date, the ticketing packages, Dark Universe, everything we discussed today, anatomically correct horse statues. What are your thoughts on those? We would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching this episode of OG50.
Thank you for watching OG55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.